Hi, everyone. This is Minister Patricia Samuels, and I've come for just a quick word today, and it is entitled Take the Trip. And it's really just a word of encouragement. This isn't this isn't a teaching from the Bible or anything like that, although I could go into scriptures to help with this, but I just wanted to share just a quick thought that I had recently, a quick experience that I had recently to encourage someone. And again, it's entitled Take the Trip. So this shirt that I have on, let's see if it can be shown there. The sun is kind of reflecting on it a little bit, but it's one of those DC shirts, Washington DC shirts, a United States seal type thing. And I bought it last summer when I was in DC, and I wore it, I don't know, I guess about a month ago or something like that. And there was this man that I ran into who said, and he started the conversation, he said, oh, I forgot exactly his exact words, but something to the effect of, is it really there? Is it really there, or is it still there? But what he implied was that it could be a figment of our imagination. So I thought it was a political joke that he was making, that, because the climate of politics and politics all the time. And so I thought he was saying, is it really there? Is D.C. a real place? That kind of thing. So further conversation, he said that he'd never been. And he said when he was a little boy, he had an opportunity to go, but something happened and the whole thing fell through, and that he never went. And this was a man who was probably around 60, I think. And so he had never gone. He had that opportunity as a little boy. I don't know if it was a school or church or something, but it sounds like he didn't have his funds or whatever didn't come together, or maybe the trip got canceled or something. I don't know the details there, but he said he never got to go and that he never went. And when he said that, it reminded me of when I was in middle school. I believe it was the 7th grade, maybe 8th grade, but one of those early grades. In one of my classes, and I can't remember if it was social studies or math, but my teacher was German, and not just someone of German descent, but she was full-fledged German and still had the accent and everything. And she had put together a trip for kids to go on. I think it was either spring break or maybe over the Christmas holidays or something. But she had put together this trip for students to take, and it was open to all of us to go. And I didn't go, and I didn't even ask to go. I didn't even bring the papers home and ask my parents or anything like that, because in my mind I didn't qualify, or I was in an honors class. When I got to middle school, I got put into these honors classes, and often there was just a handful of us it was a predominantly white school, and there was just a handful of us that were African American. And I even had some classes where, it was one or two of us or just me. There was one class my senior year in high school where it was just me. And I think that somewhere in me, I never felt that I belonged, even though I did. Even though I qualified, even though I had the grades, I had the study habits and all of this to be in honors, to be in advanced placement, or otherwise known as AP classes. Even though I had all that to be there, I think there was a part of me that just didn't feel like I should be, and it was unconscious. Because certainly if it was conscious, you would think that through and be like, oh yeah, I belong here. I did the work, and that kind of thing. So anyway, when I talked to the gentleman that said he had never gone to D.C., and he got to wonder if it was just a figment of his imagination, just something he saw on TV, whether it was a real place he can go to or not, it reminded me of that. And I wish that I had asked my parents, because they would have, not that they just had that kind of money lying around to take a trip to Germany, but they would have did it. They would have put that together and allowed me to go. So I kind of cut all of us short. I cut myself short by not going. I cut my parents short by not, giving them the chance to show me that they could make that happen. And then what that would have done, having gone to Europe at that age, at like 13, however old I was at the time, what that would have done in my life, that how that would have been a blessing. So that guy's conversation reminded me of that. And at the end of talking to him, I told him I was there last summer and mentioned some things about being out there, and I was like, you need to go. I said, you look into it and go. I said you'll enjoy it. I say because even now there's a whole lot of expansion with different museums and different things, and I'm like, I'm sure you would find it very enjoyable. So it sounded like, and at the end of our conversation, that he was at least thinking about it. And so I just want to encourage you that the things that are like in the back of our minds that we feel like we don't qualify for, we're not good enough for, we're unworthy, whatever those thoughts are that are not our thoughts, they're definitely not God's thoughts, that we take the trip, that we do it, that we go for it, that we don't allow the enemy to steal from us, to steal possibilities from us, because that would have been a wonderful opportunity for me at that age to go abroad. And but somewhere in my mind, I'm like, oh, we don't do that. We as black people, or we don't have that kind of money, because a lot of my classmates were from prominent homes, and but again, my parents would have done what they had to do to allow me to go if it's something they felt like I'd be safe doing and would benefit my education or whatever, and all of that. But I never even gave an opportunity, because I never told from that day, from those days, what have you, to this one, I never even mentioned it, that was a possibility. And so I hate that I missed out on that. But again, I would want to encourage us and examine those thoughts. Examine those feelings. Like if you feel like, oh, I can't do it, or I can't go to DC. DC is here in the it's on our ground. It's not abroad. It's not overseas. It's right here. So that's definitely something you can get to, even if you had to drive. It'd take a while to drive, depending on where you're coming from. But that's definitely doable. But in our minds, we'll think, oh, that's, I'm not good enough for that, or I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I have too much this, or too much that, or whatever. So yeah, don't let the enemy steal any more than he's already stolen, and make him pay back the stuff he has stolen. The Bible says, if a thief be found, he must repay sevenfold. So make him pay you back. And you are worthy, if for no other reason that God made you. And that's the reason that we are worthy. How about that? And that's something I think I may go into more as this ministry rebuilding continues, because that's something I was speaking recently. I was saying that I've always had like high self-esteem, or I felt like I did. But at the same time, there's been this whole thing of unworthiness, in which it's like, how could you have both? But it's like, okay, it's like I never really had a self-esteem issue, but I have had worthiness issues, and it's showing up, and that's the way it shows up in different things. It's like, okay, if I know that I'm worthy, then why am I doing this? Why am I allowing this, or why am I putting up with this? So yeah. So it takes some time to examine that. And so throughout the course of this ministry rebuilding, as I said, we're gonna examine it. I'm still working on it for myself, but and it's been, I've learned some things once I open my eyes to it. So and so as I learn, of course, I try to help other people. So I will be coming back with that once I get a good handle on it myself. So yeah, take the trip. Don't let Beelzebub beat you out of anything else. It is yours. And I sincerely hope that that man will take his trip to D.C., and I might even go to Germany. France is my place. France is my baby. I love Paris. Only went there one time, but I love the French. When I was a little girl, and I'm going to end this, I don't want to talk too long, but when I was a little girl, my mom got me a set of encyclopedias. My first grade teacher was selling them. I guess it's her side hustle, and my favorite teacher and of all time. But anyway, she came to our house and sold us the encyclopedias, and every day I would take out the F encyclopedia and look up France, and there was a little box on that page with a few French words, and I would go over those bonjour, au revoir, and little words that it had in there, and I was just fascinated. And I had no idea that I had French heritage at the time, even though my grandparents, as well as my parents, are from Louisiana. My maternal grandparents are from South Louisiana, so they're Creole, and even with all that knowledge, it never dawned on me that we were French, which is so stupid when you think about it. But at any rate, I've just always been enthralled with everything French, and so again, but I still may go to Germany. If I have some time while I'm in France, I'll catch a train or something and go see Germany. But don't miss your opportunities. Don't let the devil beat you out of nothing. He's a liar. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your weekend. Be blessed. And until next time, this has been Minister Patricia Samuels. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.